In this video, we're going to be working with 12-inch by 24-inch tile. I'm going to show you how to cut the center of the field of the tiles for electrical outlets. I'm going to show you how to make measurements accurately across the length of a tile. I'm going to show you how to build up mortar selectively on the back sides of tiles so that you get a flat, even surface across your whole tile counter backsplash. So this is the first part. There's going to be a lot of basic information, and then there will be a part 2 video showing more how to cut the tile.
Okay, I'm going to show you how to do some tile today. We're working with 12-inch by 24-inch tile. So this is one of the things we have to do here is the outlets end up in the field of the tiles. So I'll show you how to mark those out and cut them. And then this, it's going over remodeled boxes, and so the blue of the box is flat on the wall surface. So we need to cut the tile large enough to fit around that. Otherwise it'll make the tile stick out farther than it needs to. We've got our 1/8 inch spacers in here. We've turned to the corner, and I can pull these spacers out. We have our lines, they're all nice and straight, flat, level. The outlet here, we're going to fill the void with grout when we get to that, and then the outlet will just screw in onto the grout. We've got the blue tape down here to kind of offer a little bit of protection for the countertop. And as we're working our way along here, we have a canvas tarp. I think it's quadrupled, folded over to kind of protect the countertop underneath. So this here is the large tile that we're going to be working with. And this one here, the pattern on this is going to be full size, half size, full size, half size, and so they're going to be alternating like that through the rest of the kitchen countertop. When we get to the area behind the stove, we put a straight piece of wood between the counter spaces behind the stove, and then we'll just lay tile right on top of that. And then we have to cut around the microwave here just a little bit. The bottom of it is below the tile level, so that'll take a little bit. This side will be a little bit easier than that side because there's only one outlet here, so actually 2 outlets, so I've got about 3 full-size tiles that all go there, so that'll be nice, speed things up a little bit. And I think I have 1 full-size tile in the corner here. So okay, let me get this camera mounted up onto the tripod, and I'll start showing you how I do the layout. First thing I have to do is I've got a bottom tile here somewhere. Not sure where it went, but I'm going to, oh, maybe it got used. Okay, I'll have to make another one. So anyway, I have to make a bottom tile and then do the top tile here to fit around that electrical box. And then I'll finish taking out the rest of the shims here. Okay, this tile here we're going to cut in half. So we're going to take some blue tape and put it right down the middle of the tile. The reason we do that is pencil washes off with the water blast from the cutting blade. The tile saw has water going through the cutter saw blade as it's running, and so that rinses away all the lead from the pencil on the tile. So we put blue tape down here, and that holds the pencil. But we're also actually not using a pencil. We're going to be using a permanent felt tip marker. Okay, so our tile is 11 5/8. So half of that is 5 1/2 plus 5/16. So 5 8/16 plus 5/16 is 13/16. 5 13/16. Just double check it from the other side. And we get 5 13/16. Okay, we'll make the same mark over here, but we're going to do it with our permanent marker. And then we are going to take our straight edge and draw a straight line. And with this, you want to just very lightly press, because you don't want a thick line, you just want a line. Okay, and there you have it, a center line. Okay, so we have the tile saw here. The basin's full of water, and we are going to cut our tile. On these long tiles, the tile doesn't actually fit on the trolley very well, so you have to kind of cut it in phases. I'm going to cut right on the middle of the line. Now, another thing you have to do with this tile saw is you have to cut slow, because the arm of the saw tends to lift up as the force of the blade is pushing down, and so what can happen is your blade saw arm is lifting up, and it puts an angle on the cutting blade here, and then it wants to wander about a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch off track by the time you run through this long cut. So you have to make your cut nice and slow. So, okay, gonna get started here, and you can see how it goes. I might have to make some manual adjustments as I'm cutting. Okay, and there you go. Okay, 2 straight cuts. Okay, let's pull the tape off of this. Give it a quick wipe down. Okay, we're going to mix up some Flex Bond mortar. And Flex Bond is the mortar we prefer to use. It's about $35 for a bag like this. But it's a good high quality mortar, and as the name implies, Flex Bond, it will handle any movement of the tile against the surface you're attaching it to. So it's really good for floors and anything like that, showers. But we use it for pretty much everything. $35 or so per bag, and just a good product. I could use mastic on this wall here, but the wall has some inconsistencies to it. Different thicknesses on the wall due to warped studs. So we're going to use the mortar instead of mastic, because mastic goes on a lot thinner and doesn't allow you to build up behind it the way Flex Bond and other mortars will. There's also the VersaBond mortar, and that works pretty good too. It's just a little bit of a lesser grade than what Flex Bond is. But if you want to use Flex Bond, or either Flex Bond or VersaBond, they'll both work pretty much equally as well. So there seems to be a couple of lumps in the gravy here, so to speak. So we're just mixing up enough to do a few tiles at a time, because the progress on this is kind of slow because of the cutouts that I have to make. So I just mix it up to a thick consistency, not real thick, but so that it's spreadable, kind of like soft butter, I guess. And then in a couple of minutes, this stuff will continue to hydrate and thicken up a little bit more, and then we stir it again. I don't really need to do that stuff with this though. It is a countertop. There's not a lot of it. I could probably thicken that up just a tiny bit. Okay, we're going to batter up our first one here. Let's put the shim where it goes. And we got another one that's going to go down to this end here. Okay, I put the cut side down, and that way I have two clean factory edges meeting in the middle. All right, where'd my trowel go? There we go. This is a 3/8 inch wide by 1/4 inch deep notched trowel. Okay. Clean up the edges a little bit. Wipe the extra off on your pants or shirt or whatever. Okay, and let's set this. Okay, and I want to put a little more mortar at this end because it is going deeper than that top. So I can just pull it back off. Put a little extra yuck here. Okay, see if that gets it. Straight edge and just check to see how flush we are. Okay, we are set. Okay. So this wall, it's got a patch here, so it comes out here, and then it seems to concave here, and then comes back up here. So we'll make our next tile here that's going to have the cutout for the outlet. The mortar here is going to firm up by the time I get back to this, and these two shims are holding it right where I want it here. It's right where I want it there. So let's mark out our next tile here. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. So this tile here, we are going to tape it right about there, 9 to 12 inches. And remember, we tape it because pencil marks wash off while we're cutting, which isn't good. Because if they're washing off, if you need the marks to cut and they wash off while you're cutting, well, what good is that going to do you? And the tile has to be dry. The blue tape just does not stick if there's any moisture on the tile. So I'll make my initial marks with a pencil, but I will remark it with the marking tape or marking pen, because the marking pen is more visible. And I will say, the pencil, when you put it on tape, it doesn't wash off like it does on tile, but it's still not as visible as black marking pen. So the black marking pen is your friend. Okay, let's measure this. So we are going to, remember you have to subtract for your 1/8 inch spacers over here. So this is going to be 9 inches. 9 inches. Now another thing you want to do too is you always measure all your measurements from the same point. You wouldn't go, okay, that's 9 inches plus another 2 9/16 inches, because you start putting error into your measurements. So you always measure from the same point. Okay, so there's our 1/8 inch spacer, and we want 11, and I'm going to go with 5/8 on that. Just a little bit larger than the opening that we need. Okay, there's that one. That one. All right. Okay. 7/8 by 5 1/4. Just over 5 1/4. Okay. 7/8, 5 5/16 is what we'll do here. Seven eighths, 5 5/16 again. Okay, and it feels square, so we're good to go. Okay. And that line is square. And that line is square. Okay, now we need to cut these on the back side too, top and bottom, because they're narrow. And we're going to mark the back side with the felt tip marker. We don't need the tape, we're just going to mark directly onto the tile because the back side doesn't matter. 7/8 and 5/16. Seven eighths and 5/16, that is. And so again, the reason we do this is we'll be finishing this cut from the back side of the tile. Okay. There you go. We are ready to cut out our outlet box from the middle of the 1 foot by 2 foot tile. And so this is where it's going to be cut out from. And we will be doing this handheld through the tile saw. And hopefully, a lot of times when this line here in the middle, you run into a situation where you can't cut the tile because you run into the side arm. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let's go and see what happens. Okay, we are going to cut this manually. Actually, I suppose I should say freehand. Let me fill the water up here a little bit more. One thing nice about having the water laying out in the black hose is the water gets nice and warm. So it just feels a little bit nicer when you're cutting, having that warm water instead of the freezing cold water this time of the year. These big pieces tend to use a lot of water because it's spilling over the side. Small tiles, it just goes right back into the basin. But these ones here, the tile extends out over the sides and it all pours out. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that is just as I had feared. Okay, I can get this one here. Okay, I can just barely get that one, but I have to come in at an angle. So let's flip the table up and out of the way, and let's go for it. Okay, so you have to make sure that you have your tile cut nearly all the way through, and you do that on the back side mostly. So we're going to pop this out. We've got just a tiny little bit of tile left in the corners here, so let's see what happens. There you go. Okay, and there is our outlet hole. So let's run back in and see how it looks. Okay, let's clean this up a little bit, dry it off. and do a test fit. So yeah, when you are cutting these by hand, just gotta take your time. You cut it to the lines that you have drawn out on your tape on the front side, and then on the back side, you see you can overcut quite a ways, about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch on the back side, and that will cut the tile the rest of the way through, but not cut through to the surface. And so that way you get a nice square cut without the overlapped holes. Okay, let's pull these shims out of here. We don't need those anymore. This should be set up by now. And we're going to put a shim there and a shim here. And then we're going to put this in place and give it a test fit. So let's see if we get lucky. Okay, looks good. So there you can see we have a nice tight fit around the box. So this is going to go on very, very nicely. We've got a nice 1/8 inch gap here. Everything is nice, level, straight. And then we just build that out with the mortar, and we'll get a nice flat surface. Okay. So let's load that up with mortar and set her in place. Like I was saying, the mortar has firmed up a little bit here over the last 15 or 20 minutes, so I'll just give it a quick stir. And it's ready to go again. FlexBond's got probably a couple hours of working time, so if you have a big bucket going, it'll last you quite a while. Alright, let's load this baby up and trowel it with notched trowel. And then we can add or subtract mortar as we need to get the proper matching depth with the other tiles. This is going to use most of my mortar here. And there's two ways to do it. You can either load the mortar onto the tile, or you can put the mortar on the wall. And for this purpose here, I'm just going to do it on the tile. It's a little easier to control exactly where the mortar is going this way. Notched trowel. want built up just a little bit more. And then after it's on there, we can add or subtract what we need. Okay, let's slap this on there. Clean it up a little bit. Okay, now let's put it on. Okay, that is just about right. Okay. That is just about exactly where I want. Okay, that is just right. And then we have a little bit of, you can just see the mortar splooging up behind, underneath this here, so that we know is fully supported. When the outlet gets attached, it will not break the tile. So let me show you here also. Opening. So the opening is completely concealed. There you go. And straighten that up a little bit. And actually the outlet is still loose. Okay, so there you go. That is what it's going to look like.
Thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe learned something on how to do your own project. You can see how this tile project looks when everything is finished, and there is a finished version of the kitchen. I'll provide a link to that. I'm going to have a part 2 video that will show more on how to measure and cut 12 by 24 tile. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please do hit the like button, and you are invited to subscribe to keep following along on all of my projects. Thanks for watching.